Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and thanks for joining me today for one of my favorite things to do, which is a viewer mailbag. And we get lots of questions here, and I would just sit and answer them all day because that's kind of fun. First things first, I don't know if this is housekeeping or not, or this is just for me fun. That is, fun, right? You get to see the numbers, current subscribers. I should celebrate 11,111. That's fun, undeserved and fun. And by the way, for the people who watch this, of course, in the future, this is like a date stamp, because then in the future, when YouTube starts to actually call out people who don't belong here, it'll go back down to the appropriate 3,000 that it should be at, right? So I appreciate everything, you guys. I appreciate the comments. And speaking of comments, that's exactly what we're doing today. And I'm going to start responding to some questions. But first, Rick says, I am not here to educate you. You're making money for that. I just want more information on what that means, Rick. I oftentimes say that, I learned from you guys, so that's good. If you're opposed to me making money at what I do, whatever. I mean, everyone, everyone does something they get paid for, right? Anyways, we won't go down into the esoteric rabbit hole of philosophy that I have on money right now, but we can do that some other time. But I just want to know what he means. That's all. All right, let's see. Steve says, I have 3 Morgans I bought on eBay that are practically identical to those 3 in appearance, talking about some toned coins that we had got certified. I'm almost afraid to send them to PCGS since I'm a member of NGC. I'm not a member of NGC. I'm running out of money. I'm tempted to submit them to Annex first and then cross them over, kind of sneak them in the back door. What do you think? All right, well, if you're running out of money, just be patient and wait and save the money up, right? And second, this isn't the Dave Ramsey show, but that was kind of the question here, right? So, but the second thing is, I wouldn't spend the money to send them to Annex and then send them to PCGS. Not a fan of doing it that way. I would just send it into PCGS when you got the money to do it. That's just how I look at it. I think PCGS, it's hard to say whether or not having them already certified by Annex would really positively influence them or not. If PCGS is what you really want the coins to be, then I think you should probably go ahead and send them into PCGS. All right, next up. All right, talking about foreign coins, I agree it's really difficult to place a value on many of these coins. Are they rare or are they rarely graded? All right. You know what? I'm going to have to say that that's a good question. So for a lot of coins in the world coin market, there are coins that just don't get graded. In fact, little French piece that I sent in, who knows what the real population of those would be if everyone got them certified who has one. But they are rarely graded is a fair statement to start with. Whether or not they're rare is kind of like yet to be determined, which is one of the fun things about a lot of the foreign coin market areas, because you're talking about looking at an area where you can buy things and enjoy it. And you can really still kind of look at coins and compare them to other coins or see how hard it is to find it in the marketplace and realize that your coin is maybe nicer than the ones that you've seen out in the open marketplace. To me, that's kind of a fun aspect of collecting. To me, that's how guys used to collect coins before everything got turned into a commodity, right? They used to actually go out and look for the coins that they enjoyed, and they would compare it. They'd have that Rolodex in their head of everything that they own and everything they've seen, and that's kind of where I am at with foreign coins, which is it's really a great place to try to buy coins, and invest is not the right word that I would use, but if you're going to use the very broad term for invest, I'd use the term, but we're going to get to that term here in just a minute. Eric says, I liked you calling out the guy in the back of the old bill, $10 bill. That guy in the background who looks kind of sus. Have you never noticed that before? You should really look at the details of your currency. It's really interesting. And older currency is even better. Like, you get into older currency and the details are really phenomenal. So, but not everyone on the old currency is sus, but just that guy. Right, so just take a closer look at your money, and you can read into any meaning that you want to read into on this stuff. I don't know that you want to read into it too far, though. All right, Augustus, what about the coins that have been discovered buried, and they were cleaned, and they are still worth a lot. Talking about cleaning coins and the value of coins. So we get things that are coming off of shipwrecks and things of that nature that obviously have been cleaned at some point to get rid of whatever saltwater debris and things are on it. And so certainly that is a thing that is real, and it doesn't change the fact that coins that are generally cleaned are not accepted in the marketplace. So both things are happening simultaneously. They are not mutually exclusive. You can actually have areas that are a little bit different, which is frustrating. I get it, because this is the guy who wants to really convince you about certain coins being misgraded because it's not proper to grade a coin based on the market. You should be grading the coin based on what the coin is. And yet I do know that in fact that happens quite regularly. So yes, two things can happen at the same time and not be contradictory, even though they are not the same thing. All right, Mr. Boyd, a couple things. How about a mint state grade? How long will it take before we have to get our CAC stickers certified? Where do you draw the line and say enough? Also, this is me talking about split grading again. There was a ton of information, a ton of responses to that, and I appreciate everybody. I'm going to keep tackling that topic. It's a grading issue. We're not going to change the world unless we do. We can try, right? CAC did, apparently, after a while. You say you don't care about what the market would accept. You are the market. Isn't the whole idea of these grading companies to allow coin dealers to buy and sell coins sight unseen? I know you're the Coin Geek, and that's what compelled you to do what you do, but isn't there a little matter of old public coins that may be antithetical to the philosophy? I'm just saying. Peace. All right, no, this is really good. So what I like to say is that I am not the coin market. We are the coin market, but if everyone collectively started doing B instead of A, the market would shift. That is a true statement. But of course, the reality is that you will not get enough people to shift the market, right? You will not get enough people to stop doing A to do B. Now, you may get enough people to really join in to make, let's call it option C, something that exists and coexists in the ecosystem at the same time. I had a letter probably about a year ago from a famous collector who had $1 million coins. He didn't have them certified because he didn't like them certified, right? But he realized he had to get them certified to sell them. And so but my point about him in the marketplace is that he chose in his collecting pursuit to play outside of the rules, so to speak, and do his own thing. I still preach to people this is a hobby and it's for fun, and you should enjoy what you're doing. And I think that those are not things that are mutually exclusive. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy slabbed coins. You can buy slabbed coins. You enjoy it, go ahead. I have a saying that there's not a one right way to collect coins. Now, there's some things that I consider to be the wrong way, but that mostly has to do with decisions about buying coins that are either fake or overgraded or that sort of thing, right? But really, I mean, people should enjoy it. You can collect how you want. You can collect entire series. There's guys that we have a quarter box here at work where people can just dig through foreign coins and buy coins for a quarter. And there's guys that's what they love to do. They just like buying inexpensive coins, and it gives them a little thrill. They like finding things in there that they want or that they don't have. So as far as it being antithetical, I understand exactly where you're coming from. You called out CAC, which is funny because I'm not a big CAC fan, but the CAC marketplace is happening despite of me. If I was the market, I would probably have nixed CAC a long time ago, but I am not the market. I am a part of the ecosystem that we're all working in together. We're all living in together. So, and it's fun for me to philosophize about stuff. I think it's interesting because you can sit down and talk about options and possibilities and dream a little bit. And I know for a lot of people, they just want the facts and they want things to be black and white. And that's just not how I am. And so I like to talk about things that maybe could be. Or, somebody somewhere came up with CAC and they're glad they did. And there's people that's all they want to buy now. And 10 years ago, I laughed at it. And today, I still don't like it, but it's there. And it's a part of the system. If someone is going to pay me extra for a CAC coin, they're going to pay me extra for a CAC coin. If I know that I can get extra for it, then I'm going to sell it for extra. If I know I can get extra for it, I can buy it for extra, right? So there's all these things that are working in the marketplace right now that keep working in the marketplace, whether I like it or not. I am a part of the marketplace, as are you, dear Mr. Boyd. We all are, which is great, All right, Robert asks that he's sending emails around for opinions on collecting Morgans for investment. There's that word again. Simply, with a 10 to 15 year time frame, would you buy a low-grade key or gem common date coin using an 1889 CC VG8 for $1,000 or something like that, with like a very nice eye appeal 1903 MS65 for the same price? Which would you buy? So good thing here, he's got a very specific comparison of what he's talking about doing, and that is, would you buy the 89cc? He has two coins of a similar price. It's specifically to his question. He's saying, do you buy the coin that's more rare in a low grade, or the one that is maybe not as rare but in the higher grade? Now, the comparison wasn't quite apples to apples, because to me, an 030 is still kind of a more rare coin. I would have maybe rather seen him say something like a common date coin in 67 or something like that, because then that really gets to the heart of the question. If I have to pick between these two coins as an investment, and you want me to predict what's going to be worth more in 10 to 15 years, my prediction would probably be the coin that is more rare. So in this example, I would go with the 89cc in this example. Generally speaking, I find that to be a true statement. I would always rather buy the date rarity before I buy the conditional rarity. This is just something in general that I think is pretty sound over time. That what happens with the conditional rarity is, of course, that more can be added to the census. That's one thing, but also the coin itself isn't rare, and so it's a little bit more of a tricky market. Whereas when you have a coin that's a more rare date, that's the way I would go. So I hope that answers your question as you asked it. Now, what you didn't ask was talking about investments 10 to 15 years. I still am going to just preach hobby side and say, you can collect what you like and have fun with it. This is where I still don't use the term investment, because I had a guy come in this last week with a $1,000 bill, and he was talking about how if you actually factor inflation, that note should be worth $40,000. And it's not. It's worth, $1,700 to $2,000, whatever. It's somewhere in there. And so when you talk about investments, he's talking about a 10 to 15 year window. And it's cool if we get our DeLorean time machine out and we can go back and say, look, back to the $1,000 bill. These things just a few years ago in AU were $1,700, $1,800. Now ugly ones are that much, and AUs are like $4,200 to $5,000, right? So they had a huge spike in the last 3, 4, 5 years. Well, that's great if you can time the market. But as the guy who sold me the $1,000 bill pointed out, I mean, the bill, is worth, a fraction of what the actual inflationary pressure was. So that's why when I talk about using the term investment, how are you going to categorize the term investment, and why I don't use that as the word, because there's almost nothing. Let me try to use better language when I speak, right? There are plenty of things in life that can get you an annualized return that will outpace inflation. Let me just put it to you that way. And that's not what I'm here to do or sell or anything, but I'm just saying, if you're actually looking for an investment, I oftentimes go a different route. It's always easy to look at the investment that went right for somebody else and try to predict something in the future. but you can't use those raw numbers for something that just got hot or just went up. You got to think a little bit about what's going to have demand in the future. That's where it gets crazy. That's where all the things we just talked about when it comes to grading, when we philosophize about CAC, when we philosophize about is there going to be another third-party grading service that's going to weasel its way in somehow eventually? Is something going to become decentralized in the coin grading market? Is AI going to affect things? How are all these things going to affect the coin market? And how many collectors are you going to have in the future? Because at the end of the day, if you don't maintain or grow the hobby in size, this is just kind of a little bit of a mathematics thing. Your inflation rate's going to outbeat your investment rate. In my opinion, Monday morning quarterback telling you the future here, looking at stuff. I don't know the future of any of the stuff, but I'm just spitballing, talking about what it looks like in the future for coins as an investment. I still like investing my money in something else, enjoying my coins over here, and at the same time, as someone who can collect coins, you can see your value appreciate over time. I concur, I agree, this is a true thing. And yet I use the term investment somewhere else because it's like having multiple buckets, and the more buckets you have, the better. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate the comments on the videos, and as always, leave comments for me. I like interacting with you guys, so thanks so much. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.